Yo, what's going on, everybody? Let me try and. What it do, baby? I gotta be a little quiet. A little quiet. It's a problem with, it's tough for me to record oftentimes because I got people sleeping in my house almost constantly. So a lot of times, if you hear traffic in the background or whatnot, I'm recording my truck, but I figured I gotta go live because of what just happened. We're gonna break down what it means for the West, because now the West is pretty much set. Um, like 3 4 minutes of each other, uh, maybe even closer together. And like I was scrambling with Kawhi, and then I saw the Paul George tweet, and it was almost like, nah, that can't be real. Like right after the Kawhi tweet, all of a sudden Paul George to the Clippers too. Like couldn't even comprehend it at first. Like um West is loaded, yeah, but it's better than Kawhi going to the Lakers. The Clippers are going to be fun to watch. I didn't want Kawhi to go to the Lakers. I'm very happy he didn't end up going to the Lakers. Uh, so I'm not like upset with what happened because it seemed like it was going to be the Lakers. But if you guys remember on my live stream, free agency live stream, first day of free agency, I was telling you guys Clippers are in the lead. Just because you're not hearing anything about the Clippers doesn't mean that they're not putting in work behind the scenes. And then all of a sudden, here we are. They traded for Paul George. So I think Kawhi trusts the Clippers front office. They didn't let anything leak, even with a completely different player, completely different team. And it's going home to LA, and he's still going to be the guy, and his team is going to be really, really good. Possibly the favorite in the West. Um, I'm going to try and slap a thumbnail on this. And I'm going to tweet this out while this fills up a little bit. Wish this happened midday. Zion Morant, can we still be at the top of the West? I think so. I think this is actually better than Kawhi going to the Lakers. You were looking at 3 top 6 players. Now they got one top 3 player and a borderline top 10 player in Paul George. It's much more balanced. I just didn't want him to go to the Lakers because I wanted some parity in the league this year. I wanted some competitiveness. I wanted, a storyline beyond, oh, the Lakers are going to win 70 games or whatever. They have the best big 3 ever. I wanted something beyond that. Now we're actually looking at legitimate parity for the first time. There's like 7 teams in the West now that could make it out of the West and possibly win a championship. And you're looking at a couple teams, 2 3 teams in the East that can come out of the East and possibly win a championship. You're looking at like a legitimate 9 10 teams that can end up winning an NBA championship next year. And like the past few years, it's been like there's an 80% chance it's going to be the Golden State Warriors, or it's going to be LeBron. Like we had the Warriors in the finals 5 times in a row. We had the Cavaliers in the finals 4 times in a row before this past year, and now we just have a completely wide open NBA. So while it sucks that he came west, I would have rather him have stayed in Toronto. It's still going to be a ton of fun covering and watching the NBA next year. I'm actually pretty excited. Yoshi says I'm pissed. I'm not too pissed. Like Clippers are going to be good, but they traded away Gallinari. Gallinari was really, really good for them last season. Paul George is a definite upgrade, but they also traded away Gilgeous-Alexander. They also traded away pretty much all their picks, so they're not going to be able to get any better than they already are right now. So what you see is what you get. With giving up Gilgeous-Alexander and giving up Gallinari for Paul George, they're better, but it's not like those guys were scrubs. It's not like those guys didn't help them win a lot of games last year. So you got Kawhi going to a Clippers team that was what they had before, probably wasn't a playoff team. And then they make a decent upgrade, but not a huge upgrade, and going from Gallinari and Gilgeous-Alexander to Paul George. So I don't know. You think about it that way. They add an MVP candidate and they add a top 10 player, but give up a really, really good starter, possibly 2 with Gilgeous-Alexander. They're not going to be a team that runs away with the West. They're not going to be a team that Portland can't beat in the postseason. They're going to be really, really good, but they also will have to figure out some chemistry things. I also don't know if Paul George can repeat what he did last season. Both those guys have injury question marks. It's much, much better than him going to the Lakers. I didn't care what happened, just as long as Kawhi didn't end up going to the Lakers. And he didn't, so I'm happy. My door is open. I got to close this door. Darren Crivet says, now you think OKC is going to slip? Yes, but I'm interested to see if they decide to move Westbrook. They just got back like 7 picks. We'll go through the picks. We'll go through what OKC might do in a second. I need to tweet out this live stream. If you don't follow me on Twitter, go follow me at ToryJonesYT. I kept the same overlay as I did from my free agency live stream. Go follow Eric too, even if you don't know who he is. Good basketball mind. I'll go up and read back through these chat messages right after I tweet this out. Danny Green plans to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. So the Lakers miss out on Kawhi. They get Danny Green, which is actually a great fit for them. That kind of sucks. I was hoping he'd go to the Mavericks or somewhere else. But they're probably paying him more than $10 million a year next year. And then they're going to try and get minimum level signings. I don't think the Lakers are going to be head and shoulders above any of the 7 teams in the West either. All right, my stream paused for a second. I might have to move this out into another room. I think my Wi-Fi is struggling right now. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to mute my mic. I'm going to mute my mic. I'll be back in like a minute. I'm just going to move my entire setup into another room to get better Wi-Fi, because I'm on Wi-Fi, but I'm across the house from the router. All right, we're back. All right, I'm going to go through some of your comments. How far do I think OKC is going to slip? I don't think they'll be a playoff team as currently constructed. They might be that 8th team to squeak in, but they're not in that tier of – I think it's a tier 6 teams. I got to go through that tier. I'll go through that tier in a little bit. Portland about to be a real contender, just wait. I hope so. I think the deadline is going to be very important for them. I think they'll be able to make a trade Whiteside, one of their expiring contracts, for a guy that hopefully will help him out. Should Portland make another move? We need a backup big. PG and Kawhi play pretty similar game positions, yeah, but those two guys defensively, um, those guys are going to be great defensively. You're talking about PG as the shooting guard most likely. Kawhi is the small forward. They can guard pretty much every position and guard it at a very elite level. Their perimeter defense is going to be very, very good. They might. Yeah, you got Pat Beverly in that too. I wasn't even thinking about Pat Beverly. So you got Pat Beverly, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard on the perimeter. Like, it's going to be tough for Dame in a series against those guys. That's why we really need to load up on guys at the forward positions that can take care of things offensively, because that group of perimeter defenders, that's very, very tough. Danny Green to the Lakers, 2 years, $30 million. Okay, so they're going to get the AD trade done, which would bring them down to about $30 million. Danny Green, that's like $15 million. So the Lakers are going to have $15 million left to work with. So you're looking at a guy like a Marcus Morris is likely. JaMychal Green, possibly. Is this facts? Kawhi and George to the Clips? Yeah, 100%. Best thing to happen to the Blazers ever. Parity in the NBA is achieved. Yeah, I'm very excited. Like, I'm going to buy League Pass next year, and I haven't bought League Pass in like 5 years. There just seemed no point with how good the Warriors were. You know, it was almost like it was a battle for second place. Even though they ended up losing, it was just like that team was so good. Now it's every game matters. You're talking about 6-7 teams that could be like neck and neck throughout the entire season. Westbrook to the Lakers, watch. That's not possible anymore because they signed Danny Green, and they don't have the contracts to trade for Westbrook now. They would have had to absorb him with cap space. I'm wondering if they are going to trade Westbrook. This deal kind of makes sense for OKC. They weren't going to ever win a championship with that group, and they didn't have the ability to upgrade their roster with that group. So I think they should try and trade Westbrook, but I could also see them just kind of trying to like reload around him while also building towards the future with the picks they got. But getting Gilgeous-Alexander, he's a point guard. He's not a great fit with Russ because neither one of those guys are great shooters. I know SGA shot like 36% from three last year, but probably not the best guy to have next to Westbrook because Gilgeous-Alexander needs the ball in his hands. So I'm wondering if they're going to trade Russ to have Gilgeous-Alexander as their point guard of the future. Russ got what was coming to him. You know what's really interesting about this is Paul George re-signed because of Russell Westbrook. He decided not to go home to LA because of Russell Westbrook. That was just last year. Signed a 4-year deal. And all of a sudden, a year later, Russell and Paul George, they couldn't get along. They couldn't coexist. Westbrook can't coexist with anybody. Like, that was said when Paul George came here, and then it was like, oh, Paul George and Russ, they're cool. They can coexist. And then a year later, all of a sudden, they were butting heads or whatever, so Paul George demanded a trade. You think Russ is going to get traded? I have no idea. I'd have to hear a report or something about it. I did not think that Paul George was going to get traded, so that was shocking. So I guess at this point, if they want to go full rebuild, it would make sense to trade Russ. Paul George went to the Clippers. I know, it's in the title of the video. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George to the Los Angeles Clippers. Anthony Simons caused OKC rebuild. Yeah, they got scared. Now whoever wins the West should be favored in the finals. Not unless they're going against the Bucks. The Bucks are going to be really good next year. They retained most of their guys. They lost Brogdon, but they retained their guys. They're going to learn from last season. Bucks are going to be scary. Bucks are a clear-cut favorite in the East too. Philadelphia, I think, got a little bit better, so it's going to be like Philadelphia and them. I wonder what Toronto's going to do because they have some good pieces. I wonder if they're going to try and continue to contend. Maybe make a trade and bring DeMar DeRozan back because it was rumored that DeRozan could be on the trade block for the Spurs. You know, maybe the Spurs would want a guy like a Marc Gasol. Maybe they try and get DeRozan back after winning the championship. I have no idea. George probably discontent with Donovan too. Yeah, Donovan sucks. OKC's never had a good head coach. They had Scott Brooks and Billy Donovan. Just those guys can't reel in their players. They just throw the ball out there. You're talking about a lot of iso ball, very basic offense. Although it doesn't make any damn sense because it's all fake dumb. They put PG on OKC for 1 year while Kawhi wins in Toronto. That's what Andre Eric says. Uh, Unless Chris Haynes and Wojnarowski got hacked, then it's not fake. Raptors could trade for Westbrook. Oh my god, that would be extremely interesting. I don't see them doing that. What seed do you think Portland could finish in this season? They could finish anywhere from first to sixth. Andre Eric keeps telling me this is fake. It's not fake. Go check Wojnarowski's tweets, man. I don't know if you're a Thunder fan or what, but you need to go check Twitter because it happened. Paul George is a Los Angeles Clipper. This dude's in straight up denial. Lakers probably re-signing Rondo. Cole Glandon says, I don't know what's the point of rooting for small market teams anymore. I'm really depressed. I have no idea why you're depressed, man. Denver, Utah, Portland all have a really good chance at making the NBA Finals now. People think the Clippers are going to be a super team. They're not going to be a super team. You have three solid role players surrounding two All-Stars. Who knows if Paul George can keep up his production from last season? It was by far his best career year. That might be a little bit of a fluke. Andre Eric said, I know it happened. Then why are you telling me it's fake? Joey Jones, what's up, bro? What's up, Joey? You think we may do a roster upgrade with Whiteside once Nurkic comes back? I think so. If Toronto is willing to move off Serge Ibaka, I wouldn't mind trying to flip Whiteside for Serge Ibaka, then go after DeMarcus Cousins. That's an idea I had earlier today. I don't know what it'd take to get Serge Ibaka, but he's a guy that could play the 4 or the 5, and then you roll with Ibaka, Cousins, Collins until Nurkic gets back. I don't know. Eric Andre is trolling Bird Up. He's doing a really bad job of trolling. I might have to mute this man because he's spamming. My point is that this movement of players is rigged. Nothing about this is rigged. Kawhi is LeBron's kryptonite. Come on. Clippers have a decent squad one more year and they'll gain players. They can't trade for them. They traded away all their picks. They don't have young assets. They're not going to be able to acquire players via trade, and they're going to be pretty capped out. So you're looking at marginal improvement around the edges. I don't think it will be all that good. Mark Price sipping his tea. He doesn't have a championship ring on that pinky finger that he's sticking up, though. Luke Joel says, I'm so happy Kawhi didn't go to the Lakers. Just imagine if KD stayed in Golden State, how the Western playoffs would play out now. This is a almost best case scenario off season. It would have been pretty much the best case scenario if Kawhi stayed in Toronto, but West is wide open. I'm very happy too. Well, also ESPN, man. Not just ESPN. ESPN and Fox Sports, like their reporters. ESPN has Woj, however you want to say his name. Like he was really quiet and he was saying Clippers the whole time. I was saying Clippers the whole time. We ended up being right. Of course, I don't have insight or anything like that, but it just didn't make sense that he'd go to the Lakers, but he did want to go home to LA. Didn't want to play with LeBron, though. That's how I always felt about this. Hey, Tori, do you do super chat? There's a. I wish I did, man. I finally just was able to get monetized. I didn't plan on streaming today, though, so I haven't fully set up my monetization. Damn, my chat's freezing up. But yeah, anyway, what I was saying is like you have all these media guys, Stephen A. Smith, 99% Lakers, Chris Broussard, 100% Lakers. You got like, I don't even know how to say his name, that Abraham guy, that Ari Abraham guy on Twitter, guaranteeing it was the Lakers. You have all these like Twitter sources that are like 100% guarantee it's the Los Angeles Lakers going to the Lakers. And then you have a guy here or there, 99% chance he returns to Toronto is what Jalen Rose said. Like, these guys do nothing about it, and it was obvious. It was just funny how, like, instead of saying, like, I have no idea what's going to happen, it's almost like they have to come up with some sort of answer, with some sort of opinion. And nobody was talking about the Clippers. Clippers were completely quiet. Nobody was talking about the possibility of Paul George going there. Skip called it. Did Skip Bayless call it? I thought Skip Bayless was saying the Lakers, but I don't watch that, man. I can't stand that, man. Do you think Portland will keep Whiteside the entire year, trading him when Nurkic's back? I think they'll end up trading him. According to Shams, Westbrook and George were fed up with each other, so the trade request is not that crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, given that, it's not a surprise, but it seemed like Westbrook and George were really close, were really cool with each other. That's why Paul George stayed. So that's why it's crazy to me that all of a sudden that went south. But also then again, Westbrook alienates pretty much every star teammate he's ever had. People have fake sources, LMAO. Yeah, it's funny, man. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny that the team that didn't have leaks was the one who landed him. If Kawhi signed with the Lakers, it would have been dark time for Blazers. Man, I wanted him to not sign with the Lakers more than I wanted the Portland Trail Blazers to resign LaMarcus Aldridge when he was a free agent and he left. Like, I cared more about Kawhi just because, like, I'm a Blazer fan, but I wasn't really a fan of the NBA the past few years just because it was like, it seemed like a battle for second place. You know, I could get into it for the Blazers just because I'm a diehard Blazer fan. I want them to go as far as possible. But as far as like other NBA teams, it's just like, what's the point? Now, every night, League Pass, I'm going to give up that $200 to League Pass. It was said Lakers were going to send AD back if they couldn't get Kawhi earlier in the day. I don't believe that at all. That's not going to happen. There's so many trades that are dependent on that. If they didn't do that Anthony Davis trade, it would unravel like a bunch of follow-up trades with a bunch of draft picks. And the Lakers would be like shunned by the rest of the league because of how much has happened based on their trade, the AD trade. Lakers should go after Westbrook. Lakers do not have the means to land Westbrook because now they have to match his salary, and they aren't able to do that. Skip did call it. Surprising. But I called it too, but I didn't really have any insight, you know. I feel like a lot of people were guessing. And, you know, one third chance of being right. Do you have Patreon? I will set up a Patreon in the future. I'm still contributing a bit at True Blazer Fan. They have a Patreon. So I'm probably going to do tip jars on videos. I'm still kind of just like sorting out a bunch of stuff. Russ is low-key a crappy teammate. Yeah, seems like it. I mean, if he alienated Paul George a year after Paul George resigned to stay with Westbrook, then it makes you wonder for sure. Do you think Portland can make it back to the Western Conference Finals? I think Portland could win the championship next year if they make the right moves. I think they need another upgrade at the deadline, but they definitely have the ability to do so. Westbrook will get traded to the Toronto Raptors. Not to the Raptors. I'm trying to think of teams that would want Westbrook. You're probably looking at an Eastern Conference team that needs a point guard that has a lot of shooting. Aldridge has said he wouldn't mind returning to Portland if the Spurs traded him back there if they start a rebuild. I wouldn't want Aldridge. I think he's overrated, honestly. He's not efficient, not a great defender, demands the ball a lot. Do I think Myers still had something special left in him? I mean, he's really raw but talented player. You know, he just hadn't put it all together. And that's what was so frustrating about him. So it'll be interesting to watch him in a different organization, in a different situation. Westbrook on the Lakers, I feel like that'd be cancerous. Westbrook to Miami, that is the one. But Miami traded away all their picks. That's like probably the best fit for him. Westbrook and Jimmy Butler would be entertaining as hell. But they just need talent of all sorts. But they can't trade a pick until 2025. And some of because Miami traded their 2021 and 2023 picks to the Los Angeles Clippers. Those picks are probably going to the Thunder. So the Thunder probably wouldn't even want to improve Miami anyway, since those picks are unprotected. At least the 2021 is. I don't know about 2023, but OKC would want those picks to be high, so they're not going to try and help out Miami. Trippy says he's no longer a Thunder fan. He's going to the Clippers. Yeah, that's rough. You get absolutely crushed by Damian Lillard hitting that buzzer-beating shot, and then you trade away Paul George. That's rough. It was weird when the false reports came out saying Kawhi did not want to sign with the Clippers. Yeah, there was so much like conflicting information. I never saw a free agent situation like this, and I never imagined it would end with him going to the Clippers because they landed Paul George. Season's about to be wild. Season's about to be really wild. Charlotte Hornets need a point guard, yeah, but they're not in position to win at all. They couldn't even make the playoffs with Kemba. They wouldn't make the playoffs with Russ. So why give up picks? And they just signed Terry Rozier like he's their next guy. Terry Rozier's horribly overrated, but who won this trade, TJ? I think it's a win-win. OKC wasn't going to do anything. They got 4 unprotected picks. So you're talking about probably 2 unprotected picks from the Clippers, 2 unprotected picks from Miami if both those are unprotected, and then they got another unprotected pick. So you're probably looking at like 2020, 2022, 2024 Clippers first. You're looking at Miami's 2021 and 2023 first-round picks. I don't even know because there's like 7 picks. I should go grab my phone. So I can look it up. I don't like switching off chat. Other than Serge Ibaka, how do we upgrade at the deadline? Otto Porter Jr. or Blake Griffin would be great. Westbrook to the Knicks would be interesting. That's honestly a dark horse team. Westbrook to the Pacers. They just signed Malcolm Brogdon. But maybe you could convince them with like Miles Turner and picks. They traded away a pick for Malcolm Brogdon, though, so I don't see that. It's hard to figure out a destination for Westbrook. Kawhi and Beverly versus CJ and Dame. How do you see that matchup playing out in the Game 7 series? Dame and CJ would just need guys to take the pressure off them because it's going to be hard to even beat Paul George, Beverly, and Kawhi one-on-one. So the offense will need to actually like flow, have some ball movement. You're not going to win playing iso ball against the Clippers if you're Portland. Do we know how many picks were traded for Paul George? I think it's like 7. There's like 2 pick swaps, a protected pick, and 4 unprotected firsts. So what I'm assuming is 2020, 2022, 2024 Clipper first-round picks. Those are probably all unprotected. You're probably looking at Miami's unprotected 2021 first-round pick. You're probably looking at Miami's 2023 first-round pick, which is the protected pick in that deal. And then you're looking at 2 pick swaps, so maybe a 2023 and 2025 pick swap for OKC. Like, once Kawhi and Paul George go on their decline, OKC is going to be able to reload mightily. You're going to be looking at the Pelicans with the Lakers picks, and you're going to be looking at OKC with the Clippers unprotected picks, Miami's unprotected pick. Those teams are going to be like in 2030, 2032, way off in the future. Like those are going to be the top two teams, just because of how many picks they have. Dame literally sent OKC into a rebuild. It's beautiful. Dame ended a franchise. Send it back to Seattle now. I don't see OKC trading Russell, but I would break the team down and rebuild with all these picks and move forward. That's a good option, but they're never going to win a championship with Russ. It's late night. I'm scrambling. My mind is scrambling right now. My words a bit jumbled, but OKC going to trade one of the point guards they have, Russ, Schroeder, and SGA. Yeah, they got to move one of those guys. That's 3 point guards that aren't great shooters and need the ball in their hands to be effective. Westbrook to Wizards. Yeah. God, it's hard to figure out a destination for Russ. 76ers make no sense. They don't even have the means to trade for him. Honestly, you know who you could see trade for Westbrook? The Orlando Magic. They've been searching for a point guard for so long. And you're talking about like Mo Bamba, who's going to be stuck behind Vucevic for 4 years, who needs a fresh start. He's a really good prospect, in my opinion. Markelle Fultz, that lottery ticket. OKC might have interest in that. Jonathan Isaac. You could slot Al-Farouq Aminu, who the Magic just signed, over to small forward if you had to replace Jonathan Isaac, and then picks. You have Timofey Mozgov's really bad contract to help match salary. It's an expiring contract. If Russ gets traded, that's my prediction. If Russ gets traded, it's going to be to the Orlando Magic, and how funny would that be? Paul George leaves him, and then he gets traded to Orlando. Orlando would be kind of nice, though. How much of a factor do you think team chemistry will play in the season, in your opinion, considering this team is basically a soft rebuild? You talking about Portland? I wouldn't call Portland a rebuild at all. Just making moves. CP3 for Russ. Maybe they trade us Bazley. I wish. I would love Bazley. Imagine having Harden, Durant, and Westbrook and choosing to keep Westbrook. Yeah, they made mistakes. That team should have been a dynasty. The fact that they're not going to win a ring with any of those guys. Westbrook to the Kings might work. Like you said, it's hard to find a place to trade Westbrook if they do move him. Honestly, De'Aaron Fox, if he improves as much as he did, if he improves as much as he improves last year, if De'Aaron Fox, because De'Aaron Fox had a big jump from his rookie season to his sophomore season, if he continues improving like that, he might be in Westbrook's class next year. I really like De'Aaron Fox. Probably not next year, probably like 2-3 years from now. Fox, I think, is going to be just as good as Westbrook. So I don't think the Kings make sense. Westbrook to the Suns, the Suns would be a team to do something like that. And they still wouldn't make the playoffs. How do I think the Pacers will do this season? I really like what they did. They need a little bit more depth. They're always a hard team to figure out, but they'll probably be a top 4 team in the East. You're probably looking at Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Indiana, who people always sleep on. I still think Indiana would be better than a team like the Nets because the Nets don't have KD yet. Nets and Pacers will be about even, but people always sleep on the Pacers. It's just like my Blazers. People always sleep on my Blazers. They were predicted to miss the playoffs like 2 seasons in a row now and got the 3 seed 2 seasons in a row. Clippers are going to play the Nets in the ship, and Clips will win in 6. Nets might not even make it out of the first round. You got the Pacers, Celtics, 76ers, Bucks, Nets. That's your top 5 in the East. Maybe even the Raptors if they don't decide to trade away some guys, but it makes sense for them to try and rebuild. Nice hat, thank you. Dame kills other franchises while Russ kills his own. Honestly, like Kawhi and Dame tag team to kill the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kawhi's the franchise killer. Kawhi just stole Paul George. So he killed the Spurs, he killed the Raptors, killed the Warriors. Now he killed the Thunder, stole Paul George. Yeah. And then if he ends up having injury problems and isn't an all-star 3 years from now, he's gonna kill the Clippers because they have no picks. Westbrook's trade value isn't much. Yeah, I don't think so. I think a team trying to contend that wants a point guard is going to might trade for Kyle Lowry before they trade for Westbrook because it's going to take a little bit less to get Kyle Lowry. You know that dude's going to be a good leader, good dude in the locker room. His contract expires after next season. Do I think the Blazers could pick up Bradley? I don't think he'd really play. I think they're too high on Simons. You got Hood and Bazemore who can slide over to shooting guard. Bradley is terrible offensively now. He's declined. Is my stream laggy? I'm going to go grab my phone. All right, I'm going to read this Woj tweet 11 minutes ago. In the end, Kawhi Leonard did not want to construct a super team with the Lakers. He wanted a co-star across the Staples corridor with the Clippers and made it clear to Steve Ballmer and Lawrence Frank, get PG and I'm coming. Yeah, that's what I was saying all along. I didn't think Kawhi is the type of person to want to form a super team. He wants to be the guy. So everybody was like, oh, we could form the greatest trio ever. It's like, that's not Kawhi's style. That's why I didn't think the Lakers were going to happen. That's why I thought the Clippers had a better chance. They really had to push for Paul George. They gave up a ton. Blazers are lit. Yes, sir. Westbrook to the Miami Heat. Miami doesn't have any picks until 2025 that they can trade. Maybe they'd be willing to trade a pick swap 2022, 2024, they could do something like that. But if the Thunder are trading Westbrook, then they're going to be top of the lottery anyway, and those swaps are going to be meaningless. Hey, Tori, who did OKC get for PG? Gallinari, Gilgeous-Alexander, 5 future first-round picks, 4 of which are unprotected, and they got 2 pick swaps alongside those 5 future firsts. So OKC did really good. OKC got a haul. They were never going to win a championship with Russ. This gives them a chance to win a championship in the next 15 years. Once those picks start turning into players, OKC is going to be loaded. Why are we just ignoring that the Knicks took the biggest L? The Knicks constantly take L's, so it's really not much to talk about since that's just a common theme. Like, everybody knows that happens. I tweeted something out yesterday about the Knicks taking an L. I don't even remember what I tweeted. It got like 800 likes. The Knicks are a punching bag. Any good scenarios for OKC? I want to feel better. Enjoy, if you're a Thunder fan, this is what I would say to Thunder fans. Enjoy your young talent. Get out of the mindset of like, we keep losing in the first round, but we can win a championship, because that seems to be the mindset a lot of Thunder fans have had the past few years. Just enjoy your young talent. Realize that while it sucks right now, 10 years from now, you guys are going to be much better off because of this trade. In the next 5 years, like, OKC's not going to win a playoff series or anything like that, but you should have some really decent picks, especially after the Clippers start to decline. You drafted a guy I really like in Bazley, who I think has quiet all-star potential. So just enjoy your young talent developing. That's what you got to do if you're a rebuilding team. Tori, I don't know what you're smoking. Mario is unquestionably more skilled and just as good as of an athlete as Jake. I mean, look at their stats. I posted it in the video. Not a Mario or Zonya fan. He could prove me wrong. I hope he does, but I really like Jake. As a person, as a player, like I met Jake before. That's part of the reason why I was upset. Jake is just a more proven player. He had a season last year that Hazonia has never had. And Hazonia's had 4 years where he's played minutes and had a chance to have a season like that. Dark Horse teams to make the playoffs. Pelicans, Kings. The Eastern Conference is kind of a wreck right now, outside of like the top 5-6 teams. You're going to have a team like the Magic. And then you have to have another team in there. I don't know. The East, I don't even pay much attention to the bottom of the East. You have top 4 or 5 teams, and then like the bottom 3 teams are a revolving door. You got like the Pistons. Do you think we need Caleb or Griffin now? I don't see us trading for either of them right now. What do I think the Blazers' chances at a championship are? Roster's not done, but right now, 5 to 10% or so, which sounds like a little. Doesn't sound like much, but I would take 5 to 10% odds. Kawhi gave Toronto a championship and chose to leave, but I do agree he left them with nothing because they gave up DeRozan. They still got a lot of really good players that they could flip for picks to start a rebuild, or they could keep those players. And they did well without Kawhi last season. When Kawhi was out of the lineup, they were actually still a very good team, so they could still elect to try and make a push for a championship. They could still be a team that could make the Eastern Conference Finals. So Toronto's not screwed, in my opinion. They'll be able to like pursue a path, and whether it's still trying to make noise in the playoffs or rebuilding, and they'll be able to do well on whatever path they choose because of the talent they have right now. Bro, I'm not even kidding. I woke up from a loud noise like 3 minutes before the watch bomb, so I checked my phone and I got the notification. Yeah, that was crazy. I was just chilling on the couch. Didn't plan on doing a live stream, but that happened. I was like, okay, I'm a live stream. Scrambled to set up all my stuff. Jake was better, but because Mario is a three-point shooter, he fits into Stas' system. In 4 seasons, Mario was only a 32% three-point shooter, so I don't know why people say he's a shooter. So far in his career, he's only been as good of a shooter as Maurice Harkless. So that's another reason why I'm not a fan of replacing Layman with Hazonia. Layman's only played 1 season. He was shooting really well for half the season. I felt like he could have made that into a more of a full-time thing, gotten more consistent, especially if he got a more consistent role because he was yanked around too much, which is tough on any player. Hi, Portland. What's up, man? So more parity in the West and the NBA? Yeah, I'm very excited. You see a team like Utah, Denver, Portland in the NBA Finals. That's beautiful. My computer chat is lagging behind a little bit, so I'm just going to go off my phone. Do you think this is the best move the Clippers made in their history? If it wins them a championship, yes. If it doesn't win them a championship, they're going to be screwed for the next decade. Why are we scared of Kawhi? Because Kawhi is Kawhi. He just won a championship. He just dethroned the Warriors. Dude's a beast. He might be the best player in the league. Russell first round exit Westbrook. I'm not going to repeat that on stream, but that's funny. You sleeping on Hezzy, bro. Honestly, Portland fans like always kind of fall in love with a new toy. Hazonia's like a new toy. I feel like if Hazonia was here for a while and then we replaced him with Jake Layman, people would be extremely ecstatic for that move. But instead, since we replaced Jake with Hazonia, people were really excited for a Hazonia. He's also kind of flashy. Grizzlies traded CJ Miles to Washington for Dwight Howard. Yes, and then Dwight Howard got waived. I feel like that'd be a good pickup for the Blazers because they need a backup big. I would like to go get Dwight Howard, honestly, which I never thought I'd say, but we need a backup center. OEC got to blow the whole thing up and get a new coach? Yeah, 100%. Westbrook to San Antonio? I don't see San Antonio wanting a guy like that. they already struggle to shoot, but maybe you could look at DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray being included in that package. I really wonder what they do with Westbrook. I want to see Waj tweet something out on what they're going to do next. I had to double check that Paul George tweet too because I felt like it was fake. Tired of the crappy franchise excuse because that was the same argument that people used for Nick Stauskas. Nick Stauskas was no better in Portland. Orlando's a crappy franchise or whatever, but then the season after Hezonja leaves, Orlando makes the playoffs. New York's a crappy franchise, but it's like he had an opportunity to showcase his skill set and he didn't do so. He had a chance to prove himself in the league and he didn't perform. Like, yes, it's not a great situation, but when you're on a crappy team like that, especially if you're a wing player, you're going to get your chances. You're going to get your touches. And he sucked with them. So that's why I'm not a fan of Hezonja. I don't like relying on players that had as bad of a season as he did last year. I don't like on relying on those players going into a season when we're trying to win a championship. I feel like CJ is harder to guard than Dame. I wouldn't agree with that. CJ, you know he's going at you to score. Dame, it's like he's a solid passer too. Dame's quick too, and you have to be ready for that step back. You have to guard him all the way out to like 35 feet, and if you don't, you get Paul Georged. Clippers could use a center. Boogie would fit the hard-nosed culture. That might be a landing spot for Cousins, but they got Montrezl Harrell as a center. They got Zubac, who I think they bring back. But honestly, Clippers are probably the number one destination now for DeMarcus Cousins. It's funny because my Twitter source was a fraud for thinking that Kawhi was going to go to Clippers. I don't know if any of you have heard of In the Know. He was a Twitter source that had actually predicted a lot of things right. I guess he just got lucky, but then he was saying sources had confirmed to him that Kawhi was going to the Clippers like a month before it happened. And he just tweeted, he said, in all honesty, I had no sources. Sorry, y'all, but logic tells you the longer it dragged out, Kawhi was interested in going to the Clippers, and it was obvious. The moment the Lakers wanted to pair Kawhi with Bron and AD, and instead Kawhi called KD to team up in Los Angeles Clippers, that's when you knew. He said KD instead of PG, but you know what I'm saying. Who's someone you could see signing now? I have no idea. There's a lot of minimum level targets. It's hard to kind of single one out. Boogie going back to Golden State, that's definitely possible as well, but they just got Cauley Stein, who I think is a better fit. And they have Looney off the bench, so they don't really need a center. Rest in peace, Laker fans. That's so funny, man. They were so certain they were getting that. Laker fans were so certain that they were getting Kawhi. And honestly, Laker fans did not deserve to get Kawhi. They were calling him a prima donna for stretching this thing out, for taking his time. They were throwing like entitled tantrums about how they, deserved a Kawhi decision sooner. Now we know why it took Kawhi so long. He was working out this thing with Paul George. That's why it took Kawhi so long. Clips beat Blazers to go to the finals. Do you think the Raptors might do what they did with Kawhi and get a player like Blake or Love? I don't see it happening. And that wouldn't be like what they were doing with Kawhi because those guys would be under contract for a while. It's kind of hard to figure out what Toronto and OKC are going to do now. Do you have reserves on Hassan Whiteside after all the downplaying the Miami fans talked about him? I think Hassan will be great because it's a contract year. Dame and CJ make big guys look good. He's a good fit for the type of pick and roll coverage we run. It's a good culture. Dame's a great leader. He's cool with Dame and CJ. I think they'll be able to get the best effort out of Hassan Whiteside as possible. And I think Hassan Whiteside will be very, very good until Nurkic comes back. Hopefully rebuild his value, because then you could possibly trade Whiteside away for an equal expiring contract and get a pick back. If another team needs a center and has a bad contract, like a Chandler Parsons type of contract, and they're trying to make a playoff push, maybe you could get a first-round pick back for Hassan Whiteside, and then you could flip that expiring contract that you get back, like a Chandler Parsons or whatever, and the pick you got. You could flip it over to a team like Chicago and get an Otto Porter Jr. In the end, that would be swapping Hassan Whiteside straight across for Otto Porter Jr. If you want to extrapolate it longer, you could swap Harkless and Leonard for Otto Porter Jr. in the end. I like that. So if Portland's able to rebuild Whiteside's value, I really like him as a trade piece going into the deadline. Sorry if that was too confusing. Blue, we don't need Kawhi. Lakers don't need Kawhi. That's going to be their reaction after this. Kawhi's coming to LA. We're going to be so good with Kawhi. But then when he doesn't come to the Lakers, it's all about, we didn't need him anyway. That team's going to have no bench. It's going to be comical how bad their bench is. Unless you have a bunch of vets that sign minimum level contracts to go there. When did Kawhi choose Clippers? I'm just seeing this. He chose them about an hour ago or so. A little over an hour ago. Props to the Clippers, though. They traded away Tobias Harris, got picks back, used those picks. They got picks and cap space back for Tobias Harris because they got expirings or whatever. They got back Shamet, too. So I think they're keeping Shamet, really good, cheap, young piece. Use some of those picks, turned them into Paul George, which helped them land Kawhi with the cap space that they gave up Tobias Harris for. That's risky, but terrific job by Jerry West. Jerry West is genius. Do you think CJ can make I can't even talk, man. Why are my words not working right now? Do I think CJ can make an all-star team next year? Portland would have to be like top 3 team in the conference by the time voting rolls around. I don't know. Small chance every year, but Chris Haynes broke the story before Woj. Yeah. I keep forgetting my computer chat is lagging behind. Definitive One says, bro, we not scared of either LA team, period. No, we're a good team. We shouldn't be scared of anybody. Even if you lose, so what? That's the thing I never understood in high school, is when my high school team would play against like a D1 player or a legit player, a Peyton Pritchard or whatever. There would be guys that would be scared to go up against somebody that was really, really good. Meanwhile, I was really excited because it was like I prided myself on defense, and it was like I really like this challenge of trying to lock up a guy who's committed to go D1. And I think Portland Blazer fans need to develop that mindset as well. Blazer fans were scared of OKC last year. We beat them in 5. It was a challenging team, but embrace the challenge. Don't be scared of it. Man, what about Raptors? I have no idea what the Raptors are going to do. Raptors got lucky. Yeah, I lost respect for Kawhi. I don't understand why you'd lose respect for Kawhi at all. He didn't want to go join a super team. He didn't want to form the best big 3 that was possible. A lot of players would have taken that, especially going home. Instead, he wanted to compete. Still went home. Can't blame him for going home. He just won a championship with the Raptors team, did everything he should have done. Then went home, not to join a Hall of Fame Big 3, not to create a team that had 3 of the top 6 players in the league. He went home, got another really good player, but that's it. Went to the Clippers, and now the West is wide open. I don't see why you'd have no respect for Kawhi because of that. If you feel fear, you already lost. 100% true. Jason Lee says, Tori, I'm guessing you're 6'2 or 6'3. I'm 6'4. My NBA height is 6'5" because they measure in shoes. All listed heights you see in the NBA, That's their measurement in shoes. So you can say I'm 6'5". I was actually dunking pretty well the other day. Like I'm not athletic or anything, but that'll probably make me look a little bit taller than 6'2", 6'3". That's the thing. I dunk and it's not even impressive because I'm too tall. Casual fans will hate Kawhi for this. Nobody should hate Kawhi. Lakers gonna wreck the Clippers. Tommy H is a Laker fan. That's why he doesn't have respect for Kawhi, because he felt entitled to Kawhi Leonard and he didn't get him. Meanwhile, the past 10 years, I can't say that my Portland Trailblazers have acquired even a top 50 player at the time they acquired him. You know, Nurkic might be top 50 now. CJ and Dame are top 50, but at the time, you know, 2 draft picks and a center that wasn't playing. Meanwhile, Laker fans are expecting a third top 6 player in a little over a year, and they're upset when they don't get him. Now they lose respect for Kawhi. Mr. The Morning Sun, dude, 6'4", you're designed to get above rim. I'm 6'1", and I can barely get to the rim. I need to lose some weight, honestly. I used to be able to like 360, throw it off the backboard, throw it off the back wall in that gym. But I've gained like 40 pounds since I played college ball. I used to be extremely, extremely skinny, like crazy skinny. I won't say I'm fat or anything, but I could lose some weight and get up a little bit more. I also have really bad knees and a short wingspan for my height. Like my wingspan's like 6'4", 6'5". So everybody's like, "Oh, you're 6'4", you're 6'5", you should be dunking so easy." But it's like, not with the way my knees are, swelling under both knees. My wingspan's short for my height, and I'm not in great shape. But I can play though. I'm 6'2" and 13 and can just barely touch rim. You'll probably get there, especially if you grow a little bit more. You piked, bro. A little bit. I could get back to like how good I used to be, but I played college ball. Like I worked my butt off. I just have bad knees. It's like a genetic thing. It's all downhill now, bro. Have fun with it though. Have fun with it though. I know I could get it back. I know I could put in the work in to like improve my knees. Might be something I do in the future. That'd be a good YouTube series. Tori, how old are you? I just turned 23 about a month ago. Even with the Clippers, I'm really excited for this season with the Trailblazers. I'm very excited for this. Fresh talent, wide open league. The expectation that we'll probably upgrade at the trade deadline. It's going to be fun. The Brendan Air says, "I'm going into high school next year. Any advice?" It depends. I could give advice on anything, but focus on your biomechanics, like footwork, that type of thing. A lot of people just think like explosive first step is because of speed or quickness or athleticism, but a big part of it is how you push off your back foot, where exactly you plant your first step, a lot of stuff like that, which you won't get taught in high school unless you go to a great coach. It's something you kind of got to research yourself. When I played in high school, I was getting rim at 5'11" until my left knee went out on me. That's legit, bro. I know how those knee problems suck, man. Damn, Tori, I thought you were way older than me. Never mind, I'm 20. Nah, man, I'm still young. I'm still taking like college courses here and there. I'm still living like with my family, but I'm setting up to try and rent this house out once my family moves out of it. Then I'll be able to set up a live stream studio and everything, do post-game live streams, all that. But that's a big reason why I can't get videos out as much as I wanted to. as much as I want to is because there's almost always somebody sleeping in my house, so I don't record. Because if you hear me right now, like I'm talking quiet because there's somebody sleeping. What college did I go to? I went to Columbia Basin. We were actually a really good team. Struggled throughout the year because we had a lot of talent, really a lot of depth. So it was hard because you'd have some like really talented players that could have started on half the teams in the 33 team conference in the Northwest. You got a lot of guys that could start from any other teams that would end up racking up DNPs because we were really talented. So that's like my situation. So it kind of just messed with my confidence. My knees kind of failed me, so I didn't do good in college. Western Conference seeding prediction 1-8. I don't even know, man. I'm still trying to wrap my mind about what happened with this trade. I think Clippers will be top 3. I don't even know. You almost have to tier the teams. Like tier 1 was Golden State and nobody else the past few years. Now it's like tier 1 in the West. You have Clippers, Lakers, Portland, Denver, Utah, Houston, Golden State. Especially Golden State once they get healthy. So that's 7 teams with a legitimate chance to make the NBA Finals. I wouldn't say any one of those teams is all that much better than the other. That's why it's going to be a lot of fun next year. It's going to be really competitive, really good basketball. Zach will start, not Tolliver. Oh, that's my lagged behind stream. I need to stop looking at that. Yeah, Zach Collins will be our starting 4. He needs to improve his shooting. The Brennanate, definitive 1. Saying to the Brennanator, in case you're not going to see it, Brennan, which I assume is your name, but always give it all you got. You cannot achieve an elite level You cannot achieve an elite level of play with a mediocre work ethic, and surround yourself with people who stay on a positive track. And I'd say that as well. Some of these kids talk about how they want to be really good at high school basketball. And then 10 minutes later, I see them playing with younger kids, middle schoolers, on a 7'5" hoop. And just screwing around doing that day in, day out, not working on their games. So if you're like going into high school or in high school and you want to be a good player, you just have to put in the work. Don't get distracted by people goofing around in the gym. You got to commit yourself. What do you think about our bench? Who's our go-to guy? Probably Anthony Simons. They might start Kent Bazemore at small forward, so maybe Anthony Simons and Rodney Hood, which would be a lot of fun. JP says, I wonder if we gave Layman to the Wolves as a tit-for-tat thing to try and get a leg up on a Robert Covington trade at the trade deadline. And I've actually thought about that too, which would actually be very, very smart. Do Minnesota a favor so that you can kind of get in on a Robert Covington trade. If Jake Layman does really, really well, then maybe they look to move off Robert Covington. I don't know. It's a possibility for sure. I think Neil's smart enough to try and do things like that. Thoughts on Mo and Aminu gone? Big part of our defensive scheme. I'm slightly worried about defending guys like Kawhi, Paul George, LeBron. We don't really have that like big, strong wing. You know, we don't have like an Al-Farouq Aminu or Maurice Harkless type defender. We have rim protectors. We have 3. We have Collins, Whiteside, and Nurkic when he gets back. Hood isn't a bad defender, but he's probably not a guy you want on stronger players like the 3 I mentioned. Bazemore is stronger than Hood, but he's also only 6'5". He does have a long wingspan though, so that might be your best guy to put on guys like that. We just need like a Robert Covington or Otto Porter Jr. type of defender to stick on those wings. Don't doubt the king. Cliche. I'm not doubting the king at all. I don't even know who the king is anymore. Is it still LeBron? I wouldn't say he's the best player in the league anymore. Do I think the Clippers are a top 3 team in the West? They're in the top 7. There's one tier of 7 teams that are all pretty even, so it's hard for me to even say what the top 3 would be. Nee says, I'm looking. I got two chats right here. I got my computer chat, which is lagging. I got my phone chat, which is up to date. I keep looking at my computer chat, answering stuff that you guys said. I have no idea how long ago you guys said it. Watch Dame's License to Lillard. Watch Dame's License to Lillard series on YouTube if you want to see how a guy develops into a star through hard work, determination, and thousands of repetitions. 100%. If you want some inspiration and you want a good example of working hard, achieving your dream, if you want to be good at a sport, License to Lillard, 100%. The Brennan Ender says 1 Lakers, 2 Clippers, 3 Portland, 4 Denver, 5 Warriors, 6 Rockets, 7 Jazz, 8 Thunder. Thoughts? I think the Rockets will be higher. I think the Lakers will be lower. I think the Clippers are better than the Lakers. The Lakers will have no bench. If they have one injury to one of their 2 stars, that team is not going to be playoff caliber. They can't go without Anthony Davis or LeBron for any sort of stretch of time during the regular season, or they're going to lose a lot of games. Anthony Davis has had his nicks and bruises over his years. He's not as injury prone as some people say, but he's definitely not averse to getting injured. LeBron James is aging, tons of mileage on his legs. I think LeBron, if you consider his playoff minutes, is probably in the top 10 in NBA history in terms of minutes played. So I could see the Lakers honestly being a 5-8 team in the West, unless everything goes right for them. Kyle Lowry crying. I don't think Lowry's crying. He won himself a chip. I don't even feel bad for him. If he wants to get traded, I think Toronto would trade him to a good situation. I think Toronto would do right by Lowry. I just don't know what type of team needs a point guard that would trade for Lowry. Couple Woj tweets. Clippers waiving Tyrone Wallace. JaVale McGee back to the Lakers. JaVale McGee has agreed to return to the Lakers, where he'll likely start at center. That makes no sense to me because you got LeBron at small forward, Kuzma at power forward, Davis at center, Danny Green at shooting guard. Maybe they elect to go like LeBron is the point guard, Danny Green is the shooting guard, Kuzma is the small forward, Davis is the power forward, and then McGee is the center. I have no idea. That's strange to me. Clippers now have 3 of the best 5 on-ball defenders in the league. They're about to be clamps. Yeah, it's going to be tough. Clippers, honestly, probably the number 1 team in the West. If I had to give it to anybody, Clippers are going to be good. Lakers are missing a backup power forward, but have 2 backup centers. I don't even remember who their other backup center was. Caesar Augustus, I don't know how long you said that. Paul George is being traded for Gallinari and Gilgeous-Alexander as well, which is a couple of decent players to get back for him. Any guys left in free agency that I want? DeMarcus Cousins. I don't know. Portland's in a weird situation. Hey, Tori, do you think the Clippers will be able to load manage Kawhi like the Raptors did this year? Yeah. But then again, if they're not able to separate themselves from the rest of the West, then doing some load management with Kawhi could possibly result in them not even getting home court advantage. I forgot Harkless went there too. So Harkless is going to be on a contender. He's going to be paired with. They might start Harkless at power forward just to like get switchability in that lineup. Get another perimeter defender in there. You'd have Paul George at the 2, Kawhi Leonard at the 3, Harkless at the 4. Any one of those guys could play the 4. So I guess it doesn't really matter how you stack them up. That's just, 3 of your guys out there that can switch between pretty much every position. Cousins trash, Morris twins. Cousins actually had a good season last year. Per 36, 23, 12, and 5 or something like that. Pretty decent above average efficiency, and that's even though he struggled from 3, which I think we'll get back. Wasn't a bad defender like everybody's talking about, like wasn't quick, didn't really do good stepping out, but in Portland's pick and roll scheme, he could be effective as a defensive center. I would love to get Cousins, honestly. Warriors are underrated, slightly, but I don't like the fit with Russell. That's going to be interesting to watch. We literally have the 72-9 Warriors again. People are overhyping these other 2 All-Star teams. No, you don't. Clay's going to be out for the majority of the season. They don't have a Harrison Barnes type of small forward. They don't have a guy like Bogut who's a really good passing big to really help that offense flow as much as it did. D'Angelo Russell is not a good fit at all. They lost Iguodala. Is Oladipo coming back? He's reported to be back sometime in December. Clippers should pick up Dwight Howard. They already have 2 centers if they bring back Zubats. I don't think Paul George will be able to repeat the same stats as next season. I agree with that. Tyson Chandler's Lakers backup. Yeah, I could see him going back there. Tyson Chandler's a free agent, though, unless he re-signed already. Golden State and Raptors in 2020 finals. Again, mark my words, the Raptors without Kawhi. You think they're going to make the finals? I don't see it. Should Thunder trade Russ into where? I have no idea. It's hard to figure out a good destination for Westbrook. If they do trade him, I think he'll go to Orlando. Can Westbrook go full-on 2017 mode? I do like this trade if they still try and win because Gallinari has a great stretch 4, a little bit more shooting around him. Andre Iguodala to the Clippers. I don't see how they do that because Memphis is trying to trade him, and the Clippers don't really have a contract to send out to match salary for Iguodala. Actually, they traded away. The Clippers still have cap space, right? Because they traded away Gallinari. They had I don't know. I don't know what their cap situation is. Clippers don't need Boogie. They have Harrell, who gives way more effort and is less injury prone. I agree with that, actually. Harrell's a great guy for them. Westbrook to Dallas. I don't think Dallas would do that. They have something good with their young core. They don't need to win right now. And Westbrook needs the ball in his hands to be effective, so you're not looking at a great fit with Doncic. Bazemore for Covington. Orlando would have to send out other salary, and I don't think Portland will trade Bazemore until at least the trade deadline because they introduced him. They really like him. Who do you got winning the East? Milwaukee Bucks. Raptors don't even have Danny Green anymore, so we are even better now. How does losing Danny Green make you better? Any other moves Clippers should do? They might need a backup power forward, but that's about it. Probably re-sign JaMychal Green. Maybe get another backup point guard because they traded SGA. Other than that, no big moves. Lakers literally picking up leftover trash. Yeah, that's funny. How about JJ Redick? He just signed with the Pelicans, so he's not an option. Where's Portland finishing in the West? I hope we finish top 2. I hope we make a push for top 2. If we end up finishing 5th or 6th and getting bounced in the first round, it would really suck. Danny Green leftover trash. Danny Green was great last season. Raptors still have good players, yeah. I wonder if Ibaka is available, though. That's somebody I'd flip Whiteside for. I don't think I'd flip Whiteside for Ibaka unless we got DeMarcus Cousins. Unless we got like a legitimate center that could play a lot other than Whiteside. Because Ibaka could play next to Nurkic and Cousins, so he'd be a little better fit compared to just having Whiteside coming off the bench behind Nurkic. Why give the Raptors their only championship? Why are you disappointed? Oh, probably because Toronto could have won more championships if they kept Kawhi. I understand Raptor fans getting disappointed, but they shouldn't be mad at Kawhi. Is Kevin Love trade worth it at the deadline? I don't really want to go after Kevin Love. I've said it in multiple videos. I'm not a fan of that contract, his injury issues. I don't think he's all that good. I mean, he's a solid player, but Tori, do you think the Bucks are better after this offseason, even though they lost Brogdon? They're not better in terms of just talent, but I think their experience making a deep playoff run will help them out in the playoffs next season. So the West is deepest it gets. Yeah, you're looking at 7 teams that could all win over 50 games. DeMarcus is going to the Wizards. I think that's a very possible thing. He's cool with John Wall. I think he's friends with Isaiah Thomas too. They played together in Sacramento before. I don't think John Wall will play next season, though. He's hurt. Kevin Love is like Danny Green if Danny Green made threes. Danny Green shot over 40% from 3 last season, so I don't know what you're talking about. Nasir's not starting. Yeah, no, he definitely isn't. I don't think he'll play much next season, honestly. Unless he's good enough to play backup 4. I think you need background music. And it's a live stream. It's not quite like a video. But in the future, I might do that. I've thought about it. Does Portland get a chance to clinch first place in the Northwest? I think they could be the best team in the division. You're looking at a 3-team race. Utah, Denver, Portland. Portland could definitely be the top team. But either one of those teams could. It's pretty even between those three. I bet Nasir gets minutes. I don't see it. Again, unless he can play small ball 4, which I'm not sure he can yet. Clipper bigs are not championship caliber. Harrell's a guy you want. Harrell's very, very good. Harrell's the type of guy you want as a big if you have good perimeter talent, which they do now. Nas Rookie of the Year. Denver first seed next year. I don't see that at all. I think they overachieved a bit last season. I know they'll get better, but I don't think Michael Porter Jr. is going to play a factor. They didn't really upgrade their roster at all. They didn't really do anything. Mr. Little has a longer wingspan than Blake Griffin. Yeah, but he's also only 6'6", and Blake Griffin's like 6'10", 6'11". So standing reach is what you got to look at. I want to go on Twitter. I want to search the Ari Abraham guy, if you guys knew who I'm talking about. The guy that was like guaranteed that Kawhi was getting traded to the Lakers pretty much every single day. Do I think the Blazers should get Avery Bradley? No. Avery Bradley can't score, can't make a shot. Little's going to have to kill it to get more than garbage time, knowing Stotts. 100% agree. Jake Layman was killing it last season. Stotts still don't like him. What team are you guys talking about picking up CP3? Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. can't stay healthy. That whole family can't stay healthy. Their sister has had like 5 ACL injuries or something crazy like that. Jonte Porter, Michael Porter Jr.'s younger brother, couldn't stay healthy at all. Michael Porter Jr. hasn't been able to stay healthy. Like, that dude's not going to be able to stay healthy, and I had questions about him just as a player, even if he was healthy. What do I think of JaMychal Green? That would be a great pickup for Portland. But I don't see it being possible. What's the Lakers starting 5 looking like now? I have no idea. They don't have a point guard yet. So I don't know if they're going to play LeBron at point or what. Lakers, Nets, Clippers. Who has more chips in 5 to 8 years? Probably the Clippers. Clippers or the Nets. How many wins will the Hornets get? 20-ish? Possibly less. They're going to be like Bobcats bad. Yusuf Nurkic tweeted out, "Shout out to our commissioner Adam Silver to make up balance in the NBA." wasn't Adam Silver doing that. It was just the league getting lucky that Kawhi wasn't like most guys and didn't want to form an insane big three. What's the Blazers cap situation looking like? Far into the luxury tax. They're going to pay the luxury tax this year. Do I think Zion is Julius Randle with hops? Kinda. Play kind of similar. I think Zion's overrated. Any Marcus Gasol news? Marcus Gasol would be a good guy to swap Whiteside for, if possible. Him or Serge. But I think Portland's going to end up keeping Whiteside. If Zion learns how to shoot, that's what they said about Ben Simmons too. It's not quite that simple. And still, the way he attacks inside, he's going to have injury issues, not just because of his weight and how high he's landing from with that weight, but also he just tries to bully his way into grown men now. It's not going to work like it did in college. Did I miss where Kawhi Leonard went? If you didn't know he went to the Clippers, then yeah. Hassan for Otto Porter Jr. is going to happen. I would love for that to happen. I don't think it would happen until like the trade deadline, though. Isn't Gasol already showing signs of aging? Yeah, but his game isn't based off athleticism at all. It's just based off skill. That dude's so skilled, he'll be good for the next like 3-4 years. Remember when Mo Harkless tweeted anybody got Kawhi number? Kawhi just needed Paul George's number. His shot is flat, needs to arc it higher. If it goes in, it goes in. Which brother, Pal, or Mark? We're talking about Mark. I mean, I could see us possibly getting Pal, but that dude is on his way out. Nathan Quattlebaum. Good night, brother. Good stuff. See you next time. Go Blazers. Good night, bro. Yeah, who's comparing John Morant to Dame? I mean, he has a chance to be Dame good. I like John Morant, but it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get there. The PG trade kind of reminds me when Bosh went to Miami and joined Braun and Wade. Well, Bosh went to Miami before LeBron, I thought. I don't really remember. Chris Haynes tweeted out, Kawhi Leonard and his camp found it comical throughout the process that he was reportedly heading to every team but the Clippers. In the end, his small circle kept everyone guessing, and that's what occurred. Guessing. 100%. I don't like sports media. I kind of have like a cavalier attitude towards sports media. That's why I'll call Dwight James out on Twitter and stuff. It's like talking heads, man. That like know enough about the sport so that they don't make a fool out of themselves and they know how to argue, they know how to debate. But all of a sudden you got these guys trying to break news. Stephen A. Smith, 99% here in Lakers. Like, you have to wonder if they're just completely making that up or where they're hearing that information from. Like, who's telling Stephen A. Smith it's 99% Lakers? And where's he hearing that from? Like, it's weird to think about how that happens. I don't know why I'm tapping my head. Ari Abraham. I'm going to go check out Abraham's Twitter. His first name is like Arye. His last name is Abraham. Big Lakers fan who was saying a bunch of stuff. July 4th. Source, the Los Angeles Lakers continue to be very confident that free agent Kawhi Leonard will join the Lakers. There's a lot of smoke out there, none of which we believe, is the quote. He deleted so many tweets. And I'm talking about a dude who is featured on ESPN, Yahoo Sports. It's not like this is a nobody, just making stuff up purely out of nothing. But you got all these guys that are tweeting stuff out, and then they delete their tweets. So you have to have seen it, Kawhi to the Lakers. And then if it doesn't happen that day, they delete it. And then they tweet out again. Kawhi's going to the Lakers today on July 3rd. Doesn't happen, delete it. July 4th, Kawhi's going to the Lakers today. If it doesn't happen, they delete it. All we heard about was how the Clippers were out. Chris Broussard, another one of those guys. I mean, Skip Bayless could have been just guessing Clippers and gotten it right, and now he's like, that's the thing. You can guess and get it right. Doesn't mean you were connected. I don't think Skip Bayless was connected to Kawhi Leonard's camp. So true about sports media. Chris Broussard is the worst and his sources suck. Yeah, that dude doesn't get stuff right. Everything's always driven to so-and-so's going to the Lakers constantly. Last summer we heard Damian Lillard's going to go to the Lakers. Damian Lillard might be thinking about leaving. What happened this summer? Supermax. Storm Frantic 15 says, are you going to be live streaming Blazer reactions during the season? What do you mean by Blazer reactions? Specify that. We have to understand the law. The sources are putting information out to discourage other potential teams. I don't see how that applies in this situation because all three of those teams were waiting for Kawhi, and they weren't going to change anything depending on what a source says. And Stephen A. Smith doesn't seem like the type to just put out smoke for a team. I don't know. Caleb Pendergraft says, Dame to the Lakers for Kuzma. Sarcasm. Yeah, exactly. Kuzma's a good piece to get back for Dame. I will never forget Laker fans trying to convince me, yeah, you guys should want Kuzma for Dame. Kuzma's a great piece to get back. We would maybe even give up a first-round pick. Those Laker fans, man. Can't stand Laker fans, dude. Dame ain't going nowhere. No, sir. Storm Frantic, reactions to games live, especially if it's a close game in the fourth quarter. The problem is it'd probably be behind what other people are watching. I also couldn't display the game footage. I could maybe display the audio. But I watch off PlayStation View, which already has a bit of a delay, and then the live stream would be a bit of a delay. So I probably wouldn't do live reactions. If that's something people really wanted, I'd do it. But I will do post-game live streams. I think Kawhi's camp purposely sabotaged the Lakers. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think so. I think they were just trying to get another star to the Clippers, and they ended up getting Paul George. I think that's what they were working on. Am I happy with this Blazers revamp? I'm pretty happy. I give this offseason a B+. I don't think this team is all that much better than people think. I think they're slightly improved. I don't know. That's the thing. I expected us to potentially be worse going into this offseason because we were going to lose two of Curry, Cantor, and Hood. So the fact that the Portland Trailblazers aren't worse is a win in itself. I think they're slightly better. I don't think they're far and away better than they were. A lot of it depends on how good the Blazers are next year. A lot of it depends on the development of Zach Collins and Anthony Simons. And then a lot of it depends on if we're able to get enough out of Hassan Whiteside if we're able to get him back to how he was before. And then Bazemore's shooting is going to be important. We need to get that back up. And then we need Hood to continue playing like he did in that Denver series. There's a lot of different factors. Is Ibaka going into a contract year? Yes, he is. I think it might be a team option for next year, but he'd still be expiring, which would be good. Keep our flexibility. Ibaka ain't going nowhere, LOL. Who knows what the Raptors do? Trading by Timberlake, there you go. The fact that they didn't make a step backwards means a lot. And I 100% agree. And I was worried that Olshey was going to be like, oh, we made the Western Conference Finals, so we need to keep this together. Even though it's like the playoff picture broke right. I know we didn't have Nurkic, but if we don't have that amazing comeback last night of the regular season, we're probably a 4th seed. We would be a 4th seed, and then we probably get bounced in the second round by Golden State. So I didn't want them going into the offseason thinking we made the Western Conference Finals, so we don't need to be aggressive making moves. And he wasn't like that at all. So I actually really like that. Chris Carter says, all the information that leaked from Magic's conversations with Kawhi didn't help the Lakers' case. Magic screwed that franchise up, man. It's beautiful. Of course stuff leaked from that. Magic Johnson can't keep his mouth shut, man. The dude, one of the reasons he said he didn't want his job anymore is because he wanted to tweet about the NBA. That's funny. Trade Nurk. No way. We would have to match Ibaka's money, but Whiteside does that straight up. I mean, I don't see us trading Whiteside before the season starts. I kind of want us to get DeMarcus Cousins, though. We were close to signing him last offseason, and then his agency nixed that deal because they represented Nurk. Now Cousins has fired his agency, so maybe the fact that we were trying to pay him last season and we were the only team trying to pay him, maybe we could get him. But then it's like Whiteside and Cousins can't play together, so then you would probably want to flip Whiteside for another piece, for a forward of some kind, power forward like an Ibaka. But I don't think there would be anything out there. But I'd rather have Cousins than Whiteside, to be honest. Dame will pop 37-footers on Kawhi and George. You'd probably have Kawhi on Dame, and Kawhi would be smart enough to get up on that. Kawhi wouldn't be thinking it's a bad shot. Hassan will be a home run with his potential play and possible trade possibilities. Yeah, that's why I really like that trade, is because you can cover for Nurk until he comes back, and then he's an expiring contract, which possibly has enough value in a 3-team trade where you can get a first-round pick back for him and send that to the team you're acquiring a player from. So like Whiteside to a 3rd team, that 3rd team trades a pick to Detroit, and then Portland would trade picks to Detroit and get Blake Griffin, something like that. So like flexibility is possibly even a little bit more improved going into the trade deadline, and we got better now. We maintained future flexibility, and we got better. We didn't give up a pick, didn't even give up a second for any of the moves that we did. Didn't trade up for Nasir Little. That's a great get. Like, we made really, really good use of our assets this summer. Definitive One says, 3 years ago I said we should make Jerry West an offer he can't refuse. I got laughed off Blazers Edge. They said he'd die of old age in a year. LOL, I wonder how they feel now. And if Jerry West was in Portland, he couldn't have made any of that happen, though. But he is a very good GM. Just be interesting to see him in a small market that wasn't already a solid team. Neil Olshey's ripping people off. Kinda, yeah. Another tweet. Yusuf Nurkic just tweeted Harkless's tweet about Kawhi's number and said, "So you found the number, huh?" How about those earthquakes in California, though? That's been crazy. Good night, Jason. Do I think Nurkic's game translates well to the playoffs? I can't recall a great playoff performance from him, but that could just be the injuries. He's only had one playoff season. That was the Pelicans series where the entire team pretty much sucked, and he was faced with a really tough matchup against Anthony Davis. And that was the only playoff series, and he improved a lot last season. So I don't think he's one of those guys that doesn't perform in the playoffs or anything. I just don't think he's gotten a fair chance. Do I think Neil is done? I mean, we have to fill out our roster at least, so no. Would Dwight Howard be a good pickup as a backup center? We need somebody, and he's a possibility. So, I mean, maybe we could go get him to play behind Whiteside. That'd be interesting. I never thought. Howard is on the Grizzlies. No, the Grizzlies are... We got traded to the Grizzlies, but the Grizzlies are going to buy him out, so he's a possible option. We just need some big depth. We only have like one center right now, unless you consider Scal a center. I don't consider Collins a center now because he can be a starting power forward, so we need a backup center. Clippers 2020 champs. I don't see it happening. I mean, like, I shouldn't say I don't see it happening. I don't think it's likely. But, like, I wouldn't say that about any team. You have 10 teams, so not one team is likely to win. If that makes sense. JaVale McGee's getting paid $4 million a year, so the Lakers have $11 million left after bringing in Danny Green and re-signing JaVale McGee. Danny Green got paid. If you need a center, why not Boogie? I want Boogie, but then you probably want to move Whiteside for a big that could play with Biggie. I'm talking about Boogie. Ugh. All right, y'all. I just wanted to stream this because it's kind of crazy. I'm going to wrap up this little stream. I'm going to try and record a Summer League preview, but I might try and keep it shorter because it's already 1 a.m. But if I do that, it will be out tomorrow morning, and then I'll have like a Rodney Hood video. And if you guys want me to talk about Anthony Tolliver, I can as well. But like, I'm probably going to wait for Tolliver. I don't even know. Our off season isn't done, so like Tolliver and whatever else happens, I'll probably just have in one wrap-up video wrapping up like whoever we fill out our roster with. I will have a video dedicated to solely Rodney Hood because that's a big deal. I might have a Summer League preview if I can record that and edit that tonight. But yeah, that's what I got planned, and then I'll talk about Summer League. Might do short little game recaps. I don't know. But anyway, that was crazy. That's awesome they didn't go to the Lakers, though. Portland has a real chance next year. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait. So anyway, good night to all of you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Tori. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Go Blazers.